Hey everybody, my name is REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by former Let Live guitarist Jeff Sahyoun to talk all about his new project, Erase Theory. We discuss what he's been up to since Let Live broke up, the difficulties of returning to a more conventional life after being in a band for so long, how this project blossomed from a hobby to something more, his plans for 2023, and loads more. Now, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast and you want to show your support, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It takes just a few seconds and it really does help. Number two, share this on your social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Or number three, if you want to go the extra mile, you can pay a little bit each month to join the Patreon, and in return you'll get access to episodes early along with some of our perks, or you can pick up some merch from the store. All the links to that and the podcast socials where you can follow us can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this week's episode of It's Not a Phase. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of It's Not a Phase, where I'm joined by Jeff Sahyoun of his new project, Erase Theory. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, my dude. How are you?
All good, man. All good. We were just saying before, different time zones. I'll be heading to bed in the cold hours and you're still doing a bit of work. So
I'm still trying to figure out what to eat for lunch today.
Yeah.
As we're going to sleep. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Of course. And I'm happy to have you on. So obviously you've just launched a new project, Erase Theory, a couple of months ago. And you've got your debut self-titled EP coming out in a few days, at the time of recording this. How does it feel to be putting out your first body of new music in, I think, 7 years now?
Yeah, actually. Oh my God.
I think that's when If I'm the Devil came out, was 2016. So 7 years.
It's true. I actually did another project with Hyro the Hero, that artist. So for me, it's been about closer to 5 years now. But
right.
7-5, it's the same. It's the same.
It's still a long time.
It's a long time. It's exciting. It's surreal. A lot of different emotions, but it's exciting. It's new. And I'm just kind of excited to see how everything plays out and what happens, because originally when you write it and you have these plans of releasing, and actually I didn't even have plans of releasing it. I was just writing it for kind of myself. It's just my own therapy. It's my art. I probably would have just released it to a smaller degree. I share it with my friends and maybe play some local shows and whatnot. But this has ultimately turned into something a lot greater than I had anticipated, which I'm super thankful for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's exciting. And you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, who you're going to meet, or never in a million years would I have thought I'd, get to have this reintroduction with you 12, 13 years later.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Sitting in my room, because we met on that Enter Shikari tour years and years and years ago. And look where we are now just because of music.
Yeah.
It's just music. So that's exciting. And I'm stoked to see what comes of it and where it leads all of us. But, regardless of the outcome, I'm just grateful to be able to be doing it and sharing it with my peers and my friends and rock some shows again. And I'm definitely excited about that. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. So for people listening, just kind of to set the scene of, where you've been and coming into Erase Theory. So, a lot of people listening now will know about you mostly from your time in Let Live. And, you put that the band kind of went to bed in like 2017. That's when you caught, the band went its separate ways. And of course, you guys put out that statement that the band was over, which came as kind of like a shock to me. It came out of the blue. I don't know, was that kind of a decision you guys internally, was that kind of a quick decision for you guys, or was that something that's kind of been discussed for a while?
I think everybody's paths are different in this life, and reflecting on that segment of my life, everything kind of makes sense now, whereas certain opportunities will show face to certain individuals, and you would be foolish to not, possibly follow suit with those kinds of offerings, especially if you have families to support or things like that, or you had to find ways to accept it. It was not like an internal conversation. It was not something that was planned. That's just the truth of it. And that's not, again, like I think staying true to your friends and things like that is finding ways to remain peaceful and respectful and happy to watch your friends possibly go on and do something subjectively speaking greater, I suppose. But you can't hold grudges or dive into different suits of anger. when things like that happen. But
Yeah.
that band didn't end on, it wasn't like a collective conversation of like, oh, we're just going to stop. It was, I woke up to a phone call from my manager and it was just done. And I had no idea what to do or where to go, or it was very hard to kind of figure out what exactly was going on. But again, the right thing to do is to kind of step back and put your emotions on kind of the sideline and sort of really evaluate it in a different kind of way and find ways to kind of accept that this is just what's happening for you and not to you. And, again, like that was kind of a major blessing in my life, because I think I was able to kind of develop and evolve into 7 times the man that I was back then, or even the opportunities that I've had to travel the world and explore through music and finishing school and, exploring other avenues in life that I missed out on since I was, pre-teenager, because my whole life was just entirely revolved around music and playing shows. And, there was never a weekend where I wasn't at a gig or performing. And then when Let Live came into my life, we hit that so hard, 200, 300 shows a year. Globally, we were
insane.
And it was amazing. And I think that was such a beautiful part of my life. And although it may have taken some time to kind of sit back and kind of reflect on those memories or those, that chapter of my life, it was actually beautiful. Like I got to see the whole world and toured everywhere with my best friends playing a guitar. It was something that was entirely unimaginable, especially first time I went home and told my parents that I was going to sell everything I have, drop out of college, put my stuff in a backpack, buy a Vans from whoever with the $1,000 that we saved, and then just tour with no plan and no, we just had a message and believed in what we were doing, and when we hit it. So I think the aspects of that are much more important than the factual concepts of what happened or the underlying truth behind actually what did happen. I think everybody can kind of see it the way that they want, but it's all love and peace. And it's a beautiful thing to watch your friends do great things and still travel and succeed. And everybody did it in different, realms of life. I just chose, kind of a different path because I think it was healthy for me to take a step back, especially I've only done one thing my entire life, and I will only do one thing my entire life. But it's awesome. Again, like I was able to explore other avenues in my life, whether that was like finishing my studies and landing dream gigs that were remote. I did a lot of like military work. I did a lot of like government work, things I'm not allowed to talk about. But my eyes, again, were able to so blessed to be able to have witnessed most of the things that I've gotten to see in the last 4 years. And it may have been rough in the beginning, especially going through an identity crisis or culture shock. And you're only known as one guy. You're the guy from Let Live, no matter where you went. And I think the hardest thing for me, and something that was really challenging on a personal level, was showing up to these kickbacks or parties or dinners or events or shows. And everybody's still constantly coming up to you, and reflecting on that era of your life.
Yeah.
And it crushed you internally, but you got to kind of put on a face. And, my mission here is obviously to make everybody happy to any degree that I know how to achieve that. But that was hard. That was some of the most challenging times of my life, was rebuilding again and trying to redefine my persona and where I belong and who I am. But now I'm so proud and I'm so happy. And, I'll shoot the shit with Jason on the phone all day long. And it's fun. And we're a lot older. So almost a decade's time has passed. And it's just so fun to talk about that era of our life and the stupid shit that we did. And that also helped me formulate this project too, because I learned a lot from all of that, especially the aesthetic of business or the way that we approach things. And I was able to take all of the tools and the things that I've kept close to my heart, or mistakes I didn't want to make again, or, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And implemented them all into this project. And this has just been the smoothest run so far. I'm just having so much fun. I feel like I'm 16 years old again.
That's what you want, right? You want the spark and the passion, and
it's awesome. There's no pressures and there's no stress, and there's no financial burdens on me. There's no managers and labels and deadlines and this and that and all of these things, and everybody wants a piece of something, and it fucking rips you apart. It tears you apart. And as you grow older, you find love, and maybe some individuals might want to start families and things like that. Like it ingests different views on how you approach things, all things in life, really. Because when we were young, I mean, we didn't give a shit about making money at all. It didn't matter. All we wanted to do, we would play like 3 shows in a day. Like it didn't matter. I mean, we're siphon gasoline or selling, CDs outside of stores and taking showers at Starbucks bathrooms or stealing shit from Walmart to stay warm. And I mean, those things didn't matter because that's the culture in which we resided in. And that was our lifestyle and that was us. And fast forward now, I mean, 20 something years later, I could never steal anything from any store or like the perception, everything changes and your responsibilities change and your aspirations change and things. I think goals, like my goals are a lot different now and it's just a lot more peaceful. And again, like throughout the entire writing process, some days I didn't come up with anything for like a month, but it didn't matter to me. And I'm going to do everything in my power to remain as such and not allow anything to kind of toy with the art or the process or things like that. Like some like Stay is the biggest track that I have. And that song was written in just a few hours. There's a couple songs like Lost It. I sat on that song for like 4.5 years, just like toying with it, dabbing here. Oh, I'll try this. Maybe I'll do this voice, or maybe I'll do this instead. And it's cool. It's such all of this whole journey has just been so humbling. Again, I'm lucky to be here. I'm excited. Like I'm so excited. And whatever happens, happens. And I think it's the best. That worked out for me the best because it's like this anti-stress kind of process. And I'm not going to lose my house if I don't sell 5 t-shirts tomorrow, but I will lose my soul if I'm not creating music.
Exactly, man. You got to choose your priorities, right?
Yeah. I'd rather not exist than not be able to play or write or, it's just who I am.
And you've still got those memories from that time. And regardless, like you say, you managed to do things that you just couldn't because you were playing 200 to 300 shows a year, which is insane.
Yeah.
And like you say, you went studying, you did all these different jobs and stuff and kind of explored yourself, I guess, like found yourself.
Absolutely. Even how I handle disagreements or arguments now, I think is just so much different than I would have like 15 years ago, whether that's with my mother or maybe a lover of mine or like just everything or just stresses in life. Or I kind of sit back even sometimes on these job sites and I watch, how people react to different situations that life kind of throws at them. And I'll remind myself, like, I never want to be that way. And I was that way for a long time. And, and I see it in front of my face now. And sometimes I think to myself, how was I like that? Like, how did I do that? That's not very pleasant to be around sometimes, or, and even for myself, like all the nights, you lost sleep over God knows what. And now I just think I'm just so relaxed and I just don't, it's like, oh, this happened to me. All right, that's cool. Let me just figure out. I have an engineer's mentality. So it's always like, how do I fix this now?
Yeah.
Instead of in the past, maybe I'd just sit there and kind of dwell on shit and just let it bother me. And I need my emotions. Like I need to feel this because then I'll write like better songs. But it's like, yeah, but you're drawing this energy into your life constantly because I always, like, oh, I need to go through this heartbreak or this is why this happens to me in my life because I'll write you better music when I'm fucking sad or I'm all like, whatever about. But it's all part of the art. And I think it's all part of the journey. And the journey is the beautiful part to me rather than the destination. Because I used to think that the destination was the beautiful part of it in the past. And that kind of comes with immaturities, I suppose, for me personally. And, now it's not like that. Like I'm enjoying all of the whole journey and the process is, I value my minutes a lot more than I did. And that would never have happened had I not been fucking thrown into a fire and just had to man up and figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah. And sometimes you've got to be put in those situations to know how you would deal with them.
Sure. Absolutely. I don't know what my life would be like right now had all of that never happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think I care to know because I think I'm content. Yeah.
So what kind of things have you been up to then since obviously Let Live, was put to bed and before you started doing all this erase theories work? So you mentioned that you did some studying. So what did you study?
Yeah. So I ended up obtaining like a computer and electronic engineering degrees, my bachelor's in that. And then from that, I started out actually on like construction sites and I was just cleaning garbage more or less for other individuals and then standing in line and making $50 for 12 hours of work, 6 days a week, and just, and kind of lost your home and just lost, which was good because there was nowhere else to go once you hit the floor rather than, going back up. So I was crashing on my sister's couch. And yeah, I started studying the engineering part of my interests. I started executing and doing that and sitting in classrooms I didn't belong in. And fast forward, I've also obtained a shit ton of certifications. And so I work in the AV industry is mainly what I've done to kind of alleviate my time, sort of. So anything from like boardrooms, conference rooms, college classrooms. There was a point in my life where I was handling all the American embassies around the entire globe. And I was directly partnering with like the Navy SEALs. I've done work with things that people or individuals I'm not allowed to talk about at all. And my eyes have just, I've just got to experience another side of this life that I never knew existed. And I've even done work like 12 feet under the ground for like weeks at a time, entirely chaperoned and protected, whether that was on military bases or war zones or things like that. And just using my intelligence or the things that I've learned through engineering to design these systems. And, I've somehow worked my way up to a senior engineer position at the biggest AV company in the globe. So I'm currently there now, but I live across the street from the beach. I work a remote job. I'm able to tour. It doesn't matter what I do. But all of this was just, I always had like a common goal in mind. It's like every exam that I would pass is, one day closer to me getting back on a stage or playing again and trying to formulate some kind of way to be able to maintain a job where I can use the finances from it, I suppose, to kind of fund my art. Because music is a lot different now. The climate in music is a lot different now than it was, a decade ago, where I'm able to buy CDs and that'll pay for my merch sales and things like that. Like now it's like stream culture and things like that. And the money's not, I'm not getting checks every week for the music that I'm putting out. So I needed to find a healthy way and a smart way to, maintain and possess a job that I somewhat enjoy to some degree, even though it's not my passion. Like I put a face on from the 9 to 5. And then when the sun goes down, I'm back to my own self. But throughout all of these travels and stuff and these experiences, like I'd have a studio more or less in my backpack. And so I was writing anywhere in the world that I was at. And I was constantly journaling all of these experiences and these stories. And maybe there was a lot of hurdles and a lot of back and forth as to like, I don't belong here. I don't want to be here. I don't have anything to do with these people, but this is what's going to get me back to where I do want to be and where I do belong. And so most of the album, I just tell the story of the dichotomy between both. Because sometimes you're sitting in Tajikistan, it's like northeast of Afghanistan, for example, helping, rebuild an embassy. And it's like the last place in the world that I would even give a fuck to be. But I'm doing a job and I'm serving a purpose. And I know that the same way in music, if I can distribute my content and help other humans get through things they're going through in life, or maybe people can relate to the things that I'm writing about, that it would help. And so for me over there was regaining or creating this access point for different humans to show up with passports with their families in times of trouble to get them the fuck out of an area like that. And I was the main brain in charge of all of that, and it was beautiful, may have been stressful for me, but beautiful that I kind of like put my life on the line or things like that to be able to give that to other people. And now I'm not doing anything like that anymore. I'm home based now, and there's no more military, no more government jobs. It's back to just normal. I handle most of the Netflix offices around the globe right now, but I was able to write about all of it. And, and I think it happened all very organically because all of the stories and the lyrics and everything is true, and the feelings are true, and everything that I was writing about was true. I never tried to be something I wasn't or tell a story that was non-existent, or, all of it was just, even if I was in an airport, sleeping in a hostel or a hotel or wherever they put me, I just kept writing and writing and writing. And again, the studio that I was at over here, it shut down after 13 years of me having a residency there. And so everything's like home based now. And at the time when I didn't have a home, I still had to find a way to write. And the only things that I ever held on to were like my interfaces and my little MIDI pads and things like that. And my guitars, obviously, were the guitars that are left over because I had about 9 or 10 guitars stolen. And that's all I had to work with. And I just love creating noise and sound, and there's melody in everything that I hear. And so I was able to do that on my laptop. Fast forward years later, school was finished, I'm settled, and I had a whole record that was completed, and I had no idea what to do with it. And that's kind of, it kind of led me to where I am today.
Yeah.
It's wild to think about. I mean, it's literally crazy. I never thought in a million years I would be able to come back to doing this again. I always thought it was just going to turn into some hobby of me sitting in my bedroom, like playing these songs, or like telling all of these stories to all of my friends, or maybe my little niece when she grows up. It's like, oh, yeah, I toured the world in a fucking punk rock band. I did this, and I played with all my favorite artists, but now I'm at it again, and it is me, and it is who I am, and I'm grateful that I'm getting to do it, because sitting on some of those job sites, there's no way in hell I would ever. How would I ever return to my past life? How would I ever do that? Like, I'm stuck here. My life is entirely reliant on a salary and fucking weekends and asking people for permission to take days off. Or if I wake up and I don't feel good, you have to call another human being to say, I don't feel good today. I'm going to maybe not come in. Shit's weird. And I have to serve to these individuals, this corporate, schematic per se, be able to feed my family and keep a roof above my head. Like, I have to serve to these people, and I'm entirely sort of against it. And I came from a culture that was against that. And it's just weird that I had to kind of swallow it and adjust to that, because I had to. I didn't have any other choice at that time.
Yeah.
It was continued down this steep, dark road where I have $1 left in my bank account, which I actually even have right here too. And I always keep it with me, because this is first job. This is my wallet. And I have the dollar, and I have it's the last, you can see the date,
24/24/18. Yeah.
And I keep this with me everywhere, because it's all that I had left, and I had nothing. And I swore to myself, like, this was the day where I accepted the job and kind of began to follow a different kind of journey, a different path to fix myself.
Well, it all sounds like it was like a means to an end, wasn't it? These all like small steps so that you can return to music in some capacity. And like you say, you've been doing bits of writing here and there, and you may not have known at that time, but it all kind of culminated into what Erase Theory is today.
100%, like 100%. And I wouldn't, and it blindsided me. I would never have guessed that something was keeping tabs on everything that I was doing, and every hour that I was putting into my craft, it counted somewhere. And yeah, I mean, it's wild. It's so wild. And I think I'm playing a show next Friday out here in Los Angeles. It's the debut kind of EP release. EP release show, and I don't even know how to feel. Like, it's so. I'm probably gonna cry. I keep telling everybody, I'm probably gonna cry. Like, it's just insane, and the sound is so huge, and the band sounds so good, and it's like, yeah, I don't know how to put it into words. I'm at a loss for words right now. Even it's so many emotions. There's so many things that kind of run through your head, and I think first couple of minutes of me being on that stage again, I know that my brain is just going to probably going to like relive all of that so fast,
Yeah.
And then look up in the room that I'm in now and just like, I fucking did good. Yeah. And it's a good feeling. And I don't realize these things until maybe I do interviews kind of like this, or I get to kind of reflect and talk about it. And it's like, holy shit, that's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, all those years and all those struggles you went through, like, I'm sure there were times when you were going through certain lows and you were like, what am I doing? And look at you now, you're about to release an EP, you're about to go back on stage again.
I know, it's so stoked. Those are some of the worst mornings, like waking up and staring at your fucking ceiling. Like, what is the purpose? Music always housed a purpose for me in my life. There was always a mission. There was always a goal. There was always somebody to help. There was always something to do. There was this message or this vision that needed to be exposed and distributed to everywhere globally, like anywhere we can get our hands on the opportunity to do that. We jumped at it. And then when all of that is gone and your life is quiet, and it's just very like, what is the purpose? You don't have any children, or you're not married. You don't have that family. You're waking up. I was waking up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning every day and just going to construction sites just to literally clean trash.
Yeah.
And you just kind of sit there and it's like, how the fuck did an interview in Rolling Stone or something in Australia. And then like 5 months later, I'm here losing everything, like all my money, all of it, everything. It's fucked up. Like, it's just like, how do you do it? Like, what is the purpose? I might as well just end it here. I mean, there's never, what is the point, and you hit those walls but I got up and I kept moving and, staying on the course and just kept going and studying. I detached myself from social media for a very long time. That implemented a lot of like envious aspects to my personality that I wasn't so attracted to because, a lot of your friends are still doing it. Everybody's doing it and you have an exam on Friday and like a 10-page report you have to submit on Thursday. And, so I stayed away from that but it was all good because now I return to it again and everything's exciting and it's happy and so peaceful and content. Like I'm very content. So
yeah. Well, I'm glad you stuck with it, man. Not just because this EP is sick, but just because I'm just glad you stuck around. Like,
thanks.
Mental health can take a toll on you sometimes, man. And
absolutely,
sometimes it's hard to see the light through the dark. And I'm glad you got there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm good. Never got to a point where I attempted something, like that. But I can't state any sort of facts or anything, but a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people there's some point in their life where they fucking hit that rock bottom. And sometimes I think sometimes a lot of people need that. Like you need to know what it feels like to get your fucking ass kicked at least once in your life. Like, you got to know what that feels like for me. And again, it's just my opinion because the regrowth and the rebirth of yourself through all of that is such an exhilarating feeling, and looking back on it and being able to tell your story to your friends and your family or whoever. And, I was here. This is where I was years ago. And this is where I am now. And it's good. And you learn. And again, like those scars heal and that cartilage comes back stronger. It's stronger. I don't break for shit now. I can handle about anything, and my mental it's great. I'm in such a great place in life. And again, I think like maybe like lifting weights and all these things, you build your strength and your muscles and things like that. And I think I just built strength in my mind, especially through studying, like that every day of studying and studying and studying, you just get wiser and brighter and smarter, and my memory starts coming back and I'm able to remember things now. And it's weird. Like before I just smoked weed and played music. Fucking that was it. but grinded. And that was a lifestyle. That's your whole life.
Yeah.
The minute I woke up to the minute I slept, I played. And and so mental health is important. And I think that's definitely something, especially in the current culture and things like that. It seems like mental health and therapy and things like that it's, at least in California, like it's the in thing. Everybody has that. If I have to do this, then I'm mental and it's important. You gotta be happy and do things that make you happy and keep yourself stimulated and explore your interests.
So at what point were you kind of like with this new project? Was there like a catalyst moment where you're like, you know what, I'm ready to actually, move forward and actually do something with these songs that I've wrote?
Yeah, school was done. I graduated. It's been all completely finished. And then I sat back, and I think a day later, I had laid down the last verse to one of the tracks on the album. And I remember I was sitting there on my computer, and I thought to myself, oh my God, everything's done. I have nothing to do next month. Like there's no more school. I just have this job, and I have all of these songs, and I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do with it. And I just kept rewriting things and different renditions to this. And one of my dearest friends, Sergio, he had messaged me after hearing the songs, and he said, you have to take these tracks and bring it to somebody else, or you're never going to complete this, because they were already completed. And it's just been me. There's nobody else involved in the project except for my buddy Jonathan, who helps co-produce and adds the finishing mixes and masters to everything. And so I said, okay, like that'd be cool. Like it would be great to just have a record that I finished, just for myself, even just to, I have it. I did it. So I took the songs and I kind of sat on them, a couple of friends of mine, and they just said, this is fucking really awesome. Are you going to play shows? Are you going to tour? And I'm like, no, like, I don't know how the hell am I going to do that? I would never know how to pull that off right now. Like, it's just different. And I was managed by my friend of mine, Scott, who put me in touch with my current manager now and the label that I'm a part of. And I never let go. I think I can sit in front of my friends and my family and whatnot and say things that'll please other people. But I think subconsciously or in my heart, it was never an end game for me.
Yeah.
It's unfinished business. And my persona is my OCD is absolutely horrible. And I have a very hard time not finishing things. And I don't know how to let go of that. And there's no therapist in the world who's going to help me figure that shit out at all. The only thing that makes me feel normal or heals me is my music, or just playing my guitar, or sitting in these rooms and just doing what I do. And that's just the God honest truth. Let Live didn't end when I wanted it to end. I wasn't finished yet. It wasn't my time to bow out and check out. Like I have so many friends who are so gifted and so talented, and they've toured their whole lives, and they're so happy with their life now. I mean, they have their families, or maybe no family, or they're married, or no marriage, or maybe they're just by themselves, but they are so happy. I could never find that happiness. I never knew how to sit down and just be accepting of me being checked out of my own game based on somebody else's decision is not right. And I wasn't going to sit back and allow that to be. If I tell stories to my niece, she's, why'd you stop? I never want to sit here and say, because somebody else was in control of that. I would like to say, I did it. I enjoyed it. I'm so content. I've managed to accomplish all the goals that I've wanted to accomplish. I've done everything I want to do. And now I'm done because I'm the author of my own expiration. Nobody else should dictate what your future looks like. Or granted that there were so many opportunities to do it, but it was rebuilding, and it's hard to rebuild. It's just hard. And you're competing with, you want results in 1 month versus 12 years of straight work.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard. I mean, that's just hard to do. And all of that stuck with me, and I never let go of it. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. And there were so many points in my life where I probably should have let go of it and just been, accepting of the fact that I was fortunate enough to do what I did for as long as I did, because my eyes have seen things that, most other humans have not. And that's amazing. And I should be content with that, but I'm not. And I wasn't, because I can't let go of this love affair that I have with my craft. And it's just hard. And it only made sense for me to just do it again. And it all happened naturally. I don't know how I landed at the label. I have no idea how I got my amazing manager. I have no idea how I've been able to, the world has taken so many people out of my life. Now reflecting on that heartache, it's all just blessings, because those people never belonged here from the jump. Yeah. And then the small group of people who are still with me now are the people who do belong here. And they're the ones who will, you have those friends that kind of, everybody's got a bit of jealousy in them naturally, a little bit to some degree. If you watch your best friend sometimes, crushing life, just succeeding like no other, and you kind of feel sometimes as if it should have been you, or maybe, I'd like a little of that. Or the people that I have in my life now, they're so supportive, even in my workplace. I've surpassed people who've been in this industry for 15 years, and my drive or my depressions or whatever it is that I used my studies in these books to kind of kill time, not realizing how many chapters I was smashing through so fast. And I've able to gain the role that I have at this company within 4 years. And they are so supportive and happy about that. And I even have some music friends who just have failed attempts at music careers, but they're watching me succeed, and they're so supportive of it. And, go harder, do better. Some of my friends at work, I have double their salary in 4 years, and they've been working for 15 years, but they're the ones who call me and say, that's amazing. Now go and do this, because it's even bigger than, what you're doing now, and continue to push. And you always want to surround yourself by people like that. I don't do well around people who don't inspire me to do better anymore. 15 years ago, maybe I'd want to be in a room and be the best at everything I did, or I'd get fucking pissed off and then go in my room and practice 7 times harder with music or anything in life. Now I think I want to hang. Of course I want to hang. I'd like to be someone on your level, but I'm more attracted to being maybe the weakest link in a room, because it inspires me to push harder and do better and study harder or play harder, or, whatever it is. So, and you don't really realize you're doing all of this until it happens. And so I think with erase theory, it was always there, but it wasn't a reality until it became a reality. Remember when my last manager, Scott, he called me at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning, and he's like, I want to manage you. And I was like, manage what? I don't have anything. These songs are so good. And we didn't even finish mixing the tracks yet. They were just demos.
Right. Okay.
But I think that was the first, I felt wanted. I felt like I still mattered a little bit. And I think that put a fire under my ass a little bit, because it felt good to, revisit words such as, I have a manager. I kind of matter. Like there's somebody in the world who believes in whatever the hell it is that I'm doing, and who wants a part of it, and who wants to put his life on the line to do that with me with no money. And I don't have a band. I had nothing. Like I had nothing.
Just those demos.
Just the demos. I just had the demos. But that was enough to drive me to be like, you know what? Like I felt when they say people go through like these deep depressions, and then they have that, there's like 2 minutes of just a positive kind of reinforcement that kind of visits your bloodline just for a second. Maybe you get the hair stick up on your arms, and then you might lose it in 3 minutes later. But it's the fact that it still kind of existed.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, whoa, like that was like a good feeling. Like that's still in me. Like that exists. Like I can, how do I get that again? It's like that drug or that high that you experience for the first time. It's the most amazing thing you've ever touched, and all you want to do is hit it, but you didn't know it existed. And I think that's what Scott was for me for a second. He implemented that urgency of happiness and ways that I can fill these voids in my life, because I think I inherited this void that I didn't know how to fill with anything. I tried to get engaged. I tried to start a family. I tried to buy a house. I did all the things that everybody told me to do, like all of the normal things that you're supposed to do in life, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I tried. It never filled me. It never fulfilled me. Nothing worked. And when I had Scott, it was very, I got a manager. This is dope. Like now I have another responsibility. There's somebody else that's relying on me. And that individual also has a child that he needs to support. And if I take days off and I fucking sit here lazy, I don't want to lose this again the way that I did. I'm going to grind 7 times harder. And with that, introductions to producers and other people I can collab with, that happened. And then I started mixing the tracks, and the track started sounding huge. And then I started getting hyped on it, not realizing like a year ago, I had like 20 something layers on one song. And like, there's certain aspects of it, like having somebody else come in as a fresh ear and like polish the diamonds out and let me see things that are dope.
Yeah.
And then that happened. And then fast forward to Scott remaining just a dear friend of mine. It drove me to wanting a better and a stronger team behind me, because I started believing in something that was just a hobby, which was more or less organically turning into a business endeavor, or my art, or things that are pleasurable to me and things that I needed. And with that, I started to make my moves, and I ended up meeting Gavin, who's my manager now and one of my best friends in the world. And he just fell into my life. And then having somebody who is successful like that and who has a drive, you want to impress and make sure that he's good, because we are a team now, and I got to make sure I do my part. He does his part. And then this collective effort is fucking fire. Like it's awesome. And then with that, I just wanted to continue to do more and just keep doing more. And naturally, nothing's forced, nothing in our camp is forced at all. But without individuals like that, whether it was the universe or God or whoever sent these individuals into my life to kind of help me rebrand, per se, my lifestyle, is amazing. And I'm so thankful, and I cherish that, and it's just like Gavin is one of he's just one of those humans that it's not replaceable. And again, when that relationship started, I didn't have anything. It was just a vision. It's just like, I have these songs and this, and I think we can execute and do it. And, and he was all about it. And that took the level of interest and excitement that I obtained from maybe Scott. And that shit just heightened it even more.
Yeah.
And then when it turned into, I need a band. I want this live. I want to obtain agents. We'll find maybe a label to help me keep it very small. I don't need to hit, jump to the moon tomorrow. Let's just go on like little tiny road trips, and just kind of.
Yeah, one step at a time, man.
Kind of see, and the timing is now, and it's amazing. Like it's amazing. And we released one song just as kind of a reintroduction. Like, hey, it's me. I still exist. Here's some music. And then we had a remix, and then we did Stay, and then Stay fucking popped off. Stay is on rotation on all the radio stations out here. And I don't even know how, and that's what's so exciting about all of this. And now I'm about to put the EP out again, and I'm nervous, and just because I don't know. I have no idea. But I hope that everything that we formulated and all the work that we put in, it pays off, and these songs get to show face and find their way around the universe and hopefully find a home wherever they belong. And I hope that, I'm just happy about that. So
Yeah. Well, at the start, I think it was like maybe a couple of weeks after you put out the first single, you were initially called Fixed English, right? And then then 2 weeks later, I've got to change the name now.
Oh my God. So, how I was just explaining to you how amazing, people like Gavin are, for example. There's just angels in this world. He is a male version of kind of an angel in my life. There is the fucking opposite of that. There are complete 180 type of individuals and people who maybe are. I waited so fucking long to release music, and then I released music, and then it came with limitation because it gained so much traction so fast. And then there's an individual in the world who did not like it because I used a word, the same word as he named his label, whatever. But that guy resides more in like the gaming industry.
Right.
There's no reason why we couldn't coexist. But right around the fucking holidays and shit, he hits me with like a claim. His lawyer sends it to my, and I'm like, and this is something that I always say, and it was always like a laughing. We laughed about it because I thought it was a joke. I didn't know what Gavin and like my team was saying to me. I had no fucking idea what it meant. He's like, I got to talk to you, and it was right around Thanksgiving. So with my family, and I was like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, oh, so we got hit with this claim, whatever. And I was like, for what? And he's like, oh, da da da, like because you used the word fixed, and then he has the word fixed. So I was like, okay, so we're in kindergarten, and I fucking took I took a piece of his sandwich, or maybe I took a gummy bear out of his lunchbox or something, and he's upset. And so he runs home to his mom and tell him somebody grabbed who the fuck does that? You know what I mean? And I've been on a positive trip for many years. Like I'm always smiling and I'm always happy. And that bothered me. That hurt my feelings a little bit.
Yeah.
It was like, what's the issue, dude? So like I go online and then I look up who this person is and I'm like, oh my God, everything makes sense to me. Like everything makes sense to me now. That guy has himself listed as like 5 different artists on his roster on his little label. He talks about why he colors his hair a certain way and why he does his hair a certain way and all of these things, or how they're so supportive of the music community and pushing artists to succeed, and how he told some bullshit story about how he used to fucking wash dishes and shit in his restaurant or wherever he used to work to make it in music. But behind closed doors, you're fucking using your capitalism, your capitalistic strengths to fucking bully me out because I used a word. Like, if you're smart, I feel if you're smart at your business and whatnot, if my shit pops off and I have a word that you use as well, that you found in an English dictionary because you by no means invented it. I didn't invent it. I just thought it sounded cool. So I used it. And then you try to fucking threaten with like lawsuits and shit over a word. And he trademarked the shit out of it to where my legal team is 4 times stronger than his. And I could have destroyed him. Like, and I could have used so many press outlets to show what a fucking douchebag you are. Because you fucking are. You're not a real man. You are a coward. You are not real. You are not genuine. You're a liar. If my shit pops off in our name, like that's free marketing and that's free press for you. So people will find your community. And we do not we don't even look the same. It's not the same shit. It's not the same shit at all. It's completely different.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wrap my brain around how after 25, whatever plus years that I've been involved in this industry, I've never heard of such a thing in my life. Like, sure, bands going after bands because the names are identical. Absolutely. Like fair game. I understand. But bro, it's a word, dude. Like it's a word. So again, super childish. Like I went ahead and I posted something online. Like I didn't tag them or anything like that. And I had to kind of sit back, put my emotions to the side, take care of my team because we have families as well. So sure, I could have fought back and I would still have kept the name. I definitely could have kept the name to some degrees of trademark. And there are so many flaws in his trademark that we found. I could have took him out so fast, but it's not worth the money because lawyers cost money. It's not worth. Yeah. Every letter that I had to reply to this guy, like I had to pay money to do it. And It's not worth it. Knock on wood, this pops off and this succeeds. We're on the covers of everything. This is just, I will never want to ever encourage the idea, knowing that there's another human that lives in the same planet that I unfortunately have to share the same fucking air with, come back at me later in life with God knows what. Because if something this small has such a ripple effect on you and your team or whatever the fuck it is you have, I couldn't imagine what a person like that would have tried to do to me later.
Yeah.
And so I think the smartest thing for me to do was bow out and give it to him and be like, here's your lunchbox. Go in the playground and you play with your kids. I'll hang out on the other side of the playground and I want nothing to do with you. Because I can care less to have. I mean, we have studios. We have everything. We could have coexisted, helped one another out. That's what you do in music. That's what our community is all about, dear. We're helping, we're sharing, we're distributing, we're creating. We're about love. I'm not in this game to take out other bands and put people down or ruin lives. Or I worked on this for so many years. That guy doesn't have half of a fucking ball in his pants to deal with or see half the shit that I went through to fucking get to where I am here today. So you wash dishes? Are you kidding me, Ren? Like it doesn't. And that's just me being completely transparent. You don't even know who the fuck I am. And we both live in LA. You could have messaged me. It didn't have to
be the way it was.
But, yeah, man. I would have took you out to dinner. We could have talked about something. We could have became friends. We have friends in the same circle. Like I know people who know him personally. He worked with some other bands that I'm friends with. I've toured with. But I think the beautiful part about all of this, because there is beauty in it, is I kind of sat back and you're always going to hear me say this, and it's always about what happens for us and not to us. And so when I got to run my mouth and talk my shit, then I sat back and I kind of really sat in my studio and I thought, all right, there's a reason why this is happening. There's a reason why I'm not supposed to be involved. There's a reason for it. And I don't know what that is right now, but something's going to happen. And then I remember grabbing my phone and I was going through like my notes and stuff. And then I saw Erase Theory because I named the record Erase Theory.
Right. Okay.
But a couple weeks before I was going to actually like release the project and allow it to show face, I had bought the domain, registered it, did all of the things under Erase Theory. So I already owned all of it and it was just there for me to have.
It made sense.
It made total sense. And so I said, okay, we'll split the release up in the EPs and then I will just do like a self-titled release and then I will just use Erase Theory as the name. And it's fucking 7 times cooler and way better. And the logo looks better and everything it's all cohesive. Like it all makes sense. And
so it worked out in the end. He did you a favor.
He did me the biggest favor because I just landed a fucking cool name. All the merch design, everything looks just way better. And so that's why I went online then and I wrote him that thank you, even on my Instagram, was like, thank you. I'm thankful. Like I'm thankful for him. And I do wish him success and I do wish him luck. And I do. Like, I have no grudges and I'm sure he's not a bad person. You know, it's just this childish back and forth, I suppose. And I wasn't attracted to me having to ask him for permission to release a remix. And then, you know, once all that happened and I was free and I trademarked the shit out of everything that I own now, because that was a learning experience for me. Also, you got to learn from all these things and there's no stopping me. And so I was able to post a lot more, put things out, release content. I'm not scared of anything. Like, nobody's around and the name's way cooler. So they worked out and that's it. So Fixed English, I think, is just a reflection of the journey that I had to take to get here to where Erase Theory showed face, and I'm good. Super good.
Were there any apprehensions of you kind of going with this as a solo project at all, or are you kind of feeling very comfortable and natural in doing that?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to, because that's always the question, is like, what is it? So my band is hired. Like I write everything myself, do everything by myself in my room. And that's just, I enjoy that because, again, like, it's my art, it's my therapy, and I need it. And I have this love affair with it. A lot of people might not understand. And the gentlemen playing with me are dear friends of mine, and I've known them for many years, and just super, super great humans to be around. And I'm grateful for that. And everything that I do, I share with them, regardless of who the fuck wrote it. It's about the music, and it's not about Jeff. And it's not about, sometimes I was making jokes when all of this first started to happen, and I was grabbing these photo shoots and I was just all alone. And you miss your RJ or Lonnie or Jason or whoever. Like I've always been in a band. I don't know how to just like, I'm not really like a DJ, or I love the aesthetic of a band and the presence of other individuals. And I like jumping off of ideas and things like that. And it makes things a lot more fun. And again, everything that I do, I share with them, even though they are actually a hired band, but I'd like to pursue this and move forward the visuals of a band, the presence of a band. I don't want it to be a solo project. I think it's just not me. I just don't think it doesn't attract me so much. Behind closed doors, I mean, yeah, it's my brain, my vision. It's me creating all of this. But, I think in the public eyes, like I will show respect also for the love they have for me and all of the help that they're giving to me. And it's just, it's awesome. And the collective efforts, it's a beautiful thing to watch all of it kind of come together, and everybody brings a different piece of the puzzle together. And maybe even things that I would never have thought about. So I'm thankful for that. And I would not be able to, have these potential tours or these other opportunities without them. So I think it's definitely important for me to recognize that and probably represent myself as a band and as a unit. I'm most attracted to that.
I heard as well, like, 'cause you've got this new EP coming out in just a few days. I heard is there work on like more material, a second EP maybe already?
Yeah, second EP is done. Record's done. I started writing the second record already, actually. Like, totally transparent. I just write music. I have shit tons of songs. The most challenging part of it was how to release. I just want to release a record, just like put my record out, have people sit down with it, but that doesn't exist anymore. It's just different. I mean, you can do that. I just think the stage that this project is currently in, that's just a bit advanced for me. I think it's, a lot of people don't even know that I'm making music still. Like some people that I talk to had no idea that this project existed, but it's just going to take time, and it's a patience game, and just continue to work hard and stay focused and just keep releasing, single, maybe an EP, maybe a couple more singles, another EP, a few remixes, put all the tracks together. I'll probably add a couple new tracks in there for a record, drop the record this time next year, I think is the plan for me. Right. But it's going, and everything's in-house. So there's no limitation. I work when I want, and I write when I want, and it moves as fast or as slow as I feel. And it's all done in my room upstairs in my home studio, which is the best part, because I can be sitting downstairs on my couch and I have some vocal idea that happened, and I literally just run upstairs,
shoot upstairs, and then put it down.
Yeah, it's the best process, and it's exciting. It's all exciting. But yes, there's a lot of music and a lot of shows, and we're being submitted for tours right now. So I hope that I'll get to come on your side of the world sooner than later, because
fingers crossed.
I know, right? It will absolutely will happen. My whole team is London based as well.
Okay.
So everybody's on that side of the world, and the UK. I mean, the amount of love the UK gave to Let Live is just unimaginable. Like, I think our success derived from the UK, and the love and the push, and that catapulted our entire journey, like all of it. So I would be foolish to never go back there. It's just stupidity. All I want to do is play there. I might as well just move there. But I can't wait. I'm so excited, especially the UK, Europe, that side of the world is just my favorite places in the whole world. So I want nothing more than just to be able to revisit doing music. It's a dream.
Well, all sounds amazing, dude. I mean, what other plans have you got for 2023 other than obviously the EP and obviously intentions to play a few shows and put a few other bits and bobs out during the year?
Yeah, I think again, it's just the continuous exposure. I just keep putting music out, remaining consistent, the tours, showing face, and just putting the work in and the groundwork, and just staying humble and remaining grateful for whatever comes my way from all of it. So I'm happy and content with that for right now, for sure. But just constant releases, shows, hopefully tours. I'm just going and hitting it hard. I'm just literally ready to hit it hard. So all of this is just building.
That sounds awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all unfolds for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day, have you got any final words, anything you want to say or plug?
I think most important, thank you thank you for having me on your show or taking time out of your day to talk to me is wild. I'm super thankful for that. And even more exciting that, we've ran into each other 13, 12 years ago. I can't remember. And we got to hang out again here, and I hope it happens more often. And I do wish you the most success just as well. And I definitely will see you soon. But EP drops on Friday, the 24th of February. And the debut show is out here in Los Angeles on the 3rd. But other than that, I'll most definitely see you soon, or you'll definitely hear from me soon as well. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome, Jeff. Thanks very much again. Take care.
All right, brother. Cool, man. You do the same. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, then please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. If you want to support the podcast further, you can go and give it a follow on social media, pick up something from the merch store, or subscribe to the Patreon to get early access to episodes. All the links can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again, hopefully catch you on the next one, and remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.